Shalom Israel with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. The Saturday Sabbath service. With that, I Madim, which means to stand. Laya Shrala. Sarwa Panyako Hakwadon, which means turn to face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa Shabashamayim Kodash Hayashim Kaya Hawa Malakukat Aba Ratazaka Haya Shaba Ratazak Kawa Haya Bashamayim. The thunder now will come, call your one Wasalakna now Kawatino, Kasalakno Kawatino, Wala Atabi Ano, Banasai one, Abo Hawashana, Mayan Ra Kaya, Laka Hamalakwa, Wahala Watapa Ratla, Avalumyum Amun. In the English, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, so be it. The Hakak, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Baba Kashah, Nathalan, Hakak, Hakak, Larapa'ak, Kal Makala, Wakal Madawa, Hakak, Latahar, Hamatazarium, Hakak, the Hakoyum, Hamatim, Hakak, Arakawa, Tatama Allah. Barsham, Bashim Yahushua, the water month. In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits to cast them out. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be the prayer to bless Israel in Hebrew. Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Barak Lanawa, Wayasharala, Wahabaya Sapari, and Barak, Bashim Yahushua, the water month. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, bless us in Israel and the schools. In the name of Yahushua, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'a Ayanya Ahaharya Mayan Yaba'a Isarya Ma'an Yahweh Aisha Shemayim Warataza Al Yathan Lamawat Regalka Al Yanawam Shamarka Hanala Ayanawam Wala'a Yashan Sharmar Yashrala Yahweh Shamarka Yahweh Tazalka Al Yad Yamyunka Yamam Hashemat La'a Yakaka Wayarat Balayala Yahweh Yashamarka Makal Ra Yashamar Atnapashka Yahweh Yashamar Tada Atwa Wa'ako my third I will In English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills from whence comes my help. My help comes from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim al damayelka al takarash wa al tashakwat al kayahana al yabika yahama yawan wa mashinaika sha'aw ra'ash al amika ya'ar yamwa sawad wa yatayaitas wa al tadapawanika amarwa lakawa wa nakakidam magalia wa la'a yazakar sham yasharala iwad kaya nawaitas wa la bikad yakadwa al yaka barya yakaratwa ahaya adawam wa yashama aliyam mawabo wa slaki wa hagarium Gabal wa Amwan wa Amalak Halashaf Am Yashab Yatazawar Gamashawar Nalawa Imam Hayawa Zarawa Labanya Lawat Salah Ashalaham Kamadin Kasaya Sarah Kayabin Wanakal Koyashwa Nashamadwa Bayandara Hayawa Damandla Adma Shaitamwa Nayat Nadayamawa Ka Slakia Kairab Wakata Slakia Wakazaba Wakazamana Kal Nasaya Kamwa Ashar Amarwa Nayarasha Lanawa Nawa Alahayim Alahaya Shaitamwa Kagogala Kakwash Lapanya Raka Kaash Tabi Ari Ira Rakalaba Alahat Haryam Khan Taradatma Basa Araka Wabasa Wapatka Tablaham Mala'a Panyaham Kalawan Wayabakwashwa Shemka, Yahweh, Yabashwa, Wa Yabahawa, Ida, Wa Yakaparwa, Wa Yabadwa, Wa Yadaiwa, Kaya, Ata, Shemka, Yahweh, Labadka, Al Yawan, Al Kaha, Ratazar. In the English, keep not thy silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, the Hagarenes, the Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Assure is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, doing to them as unto the Midianites, as the Sisera, as the Jabin, as the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make the nobles like Oreb and Exaeb, yea, all the princes as Abad and as Omuna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power and possession. O my power, make them like the wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name, O Yahweh. Let them be confounded in trouble forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, wa Yahweh Sham, wa Miyaka Allah, wa Alahayim, Matazab Yah, Alawap Yahalam, Alawap Yahanam, Alawapim, Hasaranyim, Hakwatazayanim, Hakayayoyim, Wahakwatim, Yahweh, Bashim Yahshat, Waraman. In English, blessed Yahweh, and Yahweh Sham, Michael, and the angels. Commander General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, troopers, and assistants, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, thank you, so be it. To the curses. Blessed are you, Yahweh, King of heaven and earth and all things living. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, listen to us now, right now. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen that speak against us, that prophets, the teachers, the princes, the priests, the Israelite brothers, and the school. Send evils and curses and punishment and destruction to the heathen, and shake loose the treasure of the rich of Israel that refused to give to the school. Force their riches to enter into that sanctuary. Send evil and curses and punishment and destruction to the Edomites and the nations and their drug dealers, the court system, the prison system, Planned Parenthood, all the governments of our enemies, Amalek synagogues and armies, the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, Islam, Christianity, Egyptology, militia, Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nation, Skinhead, Posse Kamatazi, the gay movement, the lesbian movement, spies, workers of witchcraft, NASA space program, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Space Force, Wall Street. Open up the internet and the airwaves, the cable access channel, and the radio channels. Convict the spirit of any of thy people that seek to stop us, and bring swift destruction to all the heathen that stand in the way or try to stop us from broadcasting your words throughout the planet Earth. Let loose all the plagues, cause them to go to and fro through the earth and consume them. Let the plague shake the house of the thief and the murderer. Let Yahushua, Michael, and Gabriel come down with the flying saucers and punish all the heathen that come up against us as we speak that word. Cause it to be known by all that it's the angels that have done it. Cause it to be spread through the media throughout the whole world. Cause them to shake at thy coming. In the name of Yahushua, thank you always, so be it. All right, Sar, which means the turn, and then Yeshabian, which means the sit. So lock you, let me see what's going on with this camera. So lock you. Mike. All right. All right, Shalom Israel with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out in 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. We've been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible since 1969. As I said before, this is the Saturday Sabbath service where we go into the scriptures. We break it down in the Hebrew. We read it in the Hebrew, and we break it down in the English. I mean, so that you can get a full 360 scope of what this Bible is about. Something that your Christian pastor wouldn't do, because their purpose isn't to. I mean, you might think you go in that Christian church to read the Bible. You know what I mean? All the Bible study and all the, you know what I mean, the services, the Wednesday service and the Sunday service and the Monday service, all the services that they do and all of that. You would think that you would go in there and learn the Bible, but that's just not the case, because your Christian pastors, you know what I mean, since the since the inception of the Christian church has been put in place to deceive blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and teach them some lie and some skewed version of the Bible. So what we do on Saturday in the Sabbath service is we read it in the Hebrew so that we can get the original language and the culture of the people that spoke that language, and we can get the understanding of the words that's actually used in the Bible. And then we read it in the English, and then we break it down in the English so that you can get a full 360 scope of what's in this Bible, so that we can actually get our culture in this from what's in the Bible. And you can separate between what's real and from the lies that you've learned in a Christian church. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and just jump into it. Make sure you got your Bible Hub. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you got any questions or comments throughout, go ahead and put your comments in the chat. And if you got any questions on topic or off topic, we'll try to get to them, preferably on topic. But if you got any questions off topic, then you know what I mean. We'll see if we can get to them. And make sure you share the class with you know what I mean, all your relatives, all your family, all your church members, whether you agree or not. And if you happen to be watching this video and we're not live at the moment, then you can always, if you got any questions or comments while we're not live, you can always hit that QR code in the corner in morning, noon, and night. There'll be a brother in there to answer all your questions and solve all your problems. All right. Make sure you got Bible Hub out. It's an app that we always use to read the Lashon Kodash during Sabbath service. So make sure you got Bible Hub. If you don't have it downloaded already, make sure you go to your app store, whether you got iPhone or Apple or iPhone or Android. Make sure you go to your app or your app store and get Bible Hub downloaded so that we all can be on the same page. Once you got that downloaded, go to the interlinear section and then go to the book chapter. Go to the book chapter and verse that we gonna be reading from. Right now, we're gonna be picking up where we left off last week. We left off Genesis 50 and 13, so we're gonna be picking up. I see you, Sister Nazamana. Let me know if the picture is good. I think I might have fixed it. All right. So if the picture is good, if the picture is Tawab, just let me know if it updated. It looks good on my end, but I think it might be a little lag. So just let me know if it's been fixed. All right. But so we're gonna be picking up from Genesis 50 and 14 and be going into Exodus 2 and 14, I believe. All right. So with that, go ahead and get started. So again, make sure you got Bible Hub out. Make sure you got Bible Hub. Make sure you go to Genesis, the 50th chapter and the 14th verse, and then follow along. You know what I mean? You should have a pretty decent grasp if you've been attending Lashon Kodash classes or Sabbath services in the past. You should have a pretty decent grasp on the Lashon Kodash. If you don't, you know what I mean, that's fine. Just you know what I mean, just what you could do is attend a Lashon Kodash class. Attend Lashon Kodash class, which is every Friday from 7 to 9, and then you can ask all your in-depth questions. All right. So Saturday is where we apply what we learned in Lashon Kodash class on Friday. All right. But you can also, if you got any questions or anything on the Lashon Kodash during Sabbath service, you can also ask. And Lord willing, we can get to those as well. But the better, you know what I mean, if you want to get all your questions answered in depth and get a more in-depth breakdown of the Lashon Kodash, it's best to ask all your Lashon Kodash related questions in Friday class. But of course, you can ask any question or make any comment that you want to. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 14 in Hebrew. Wa Yashab Yawasab Matazarima Yahawa Wa Akyawa Wakal Ha Ala Yum Afwa La Kobar Ath Abayawa Acharya Kobarwa Ath Abo Yawa. Verse 15. Waya Ra'awa Akya Yawasap Kaya Math Aba Yahum Waya Amarya. It's like Amarwa. Lawa Yasha Yashatumnawa Yawasap Wahashab Yashayab Lanawa Ath Kal Harai Ashar Gamanawa Athwa. 16. Salaki, 1 second. Salaki. Salaki. Verse 16. Wayataza Wawa Al Yawasap La Amar Abu Yaka Tazawa La Panya Mawa. 17. Katha Marwa La Yawasap Ana Sha'a Na'a Pashai Akyaka Wa Waha Ta Atham Kaya Ra Slaka Gamal Yaka some Slaka Gamalawak Gamalawaka Wa Waita Sha'a Na'a La Pashai Ibadia Allah Alaya Abayaka Wayabaka Yawasap Ba the bar room Al Yawa. Verse 18. Salakia. Verse 18. Wayalakwa Gum Akyawa. Salakia. 1 second. Akyawa Wayapawa La Punyawa Waya Amarwa Hananawa Laka La'ibadium. 19. Wayamar Alham Yawasap Al Ta Yara'awa Kaya Hatha Hath Alahayam Anya. Verse 20. Wa Atham Kashabtham Alya Ra'i Alahayam Khashaba La Taba La Ma'ain Aisha Kayawam Haza La Hayath Salaki. I'm Rob. 21. Waita Al the Yara'awa Unkaya Akalakal Athakam Wa'ath Ta Tapakam Waya Naham Awatham Wa Salaki Waya Debar Al Labum. Verse 22. Waya Shab Yawasap Ba Matazarium Hawa'a Wa Bayath Abayawa Ya Salaki Waya Khaya Yawasap Ma'a Wa Aishara Shanyam. 23. If anybody else is having any trouble seeing the screen, you know what I mean, or anything like that, let me see. If anybody else is having any trouble seeing the class, put a put a two in the chat. All right. If there's any trouble, if any other brothers or sisters having trouble seeing the camera, uh, or seeing me or anything, just put a two in the chat. All right. We're gonna try to get that fixed. Let's see. All right. It's still I'm still able to see everything on my end, so I'm not sure if it's still a delay or what the issue is. But I'm every all right. At verse 23. Well, yeah, Ra'ah, Yawasap, La Aparium, Ba Banya, Shalashim, Gum, Banya, Makayor, Ban, Manasha, Yala, Salaki, Yaladwa, Al, Barakya, Yawasap, 24. Well, yeah, Mar, Yawasap, Al, Akiwa, Unikaya, Math, Wa Alahayim, Pa Paquad, Ya Paquad, Athkam, Wa Waha Ala, Athkam, Man, Ha Rataza, Ha Zaath, Al Ha Rataza, Ashor, Nashabai, La La Burahum, La Yatazak, Wa La Yaiqua. All right, let me see. Bear with me 1 second. All right, we should be good to go now. I don't know what that was about. Slocky and the water to, you know what I mean, to the water to the sister to let me know that the problem, what the problem was, so we get it fixed. All right. We're gonna go ahead. So like we're gonna go ahead and continue. All right. All right. Genesis 50 and 25 in the Hebrew. Waya Shabai Yawasap Ath Banya Yasharala Lamar Paquad Ya Paquad Alahayim Athkam Waha I Lathum Ath I Taza Salaki I Taza Mathia Ma Maza 26. Waya Math Yawasap Ban Ma'a wa Aishara Shanyam wa ya Khanatawa Athwa wa ya Yasham Ba'ar 1 Ba Matazarium. It's the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wa Allah Shah Mawath Banya Yasharala Ha Ba'ayim Matazarium Ath Yaikwab Ayash wa Bayathwa Ba'a, it's like a Ba'awa. Verse 2. Ra'alban Shemaiwan Lawaya wa Yahawada. Verse 3. Yashikar Zabalawan Banyamyan wa Banyanyam Yamyan Salaki. Verse 4. Dan wa Naphtaliya Gad wa Ashar. Verse 5. Wa Yahaya call Napash Ya Taza'aya Ya Yarak Yaikwab Shabayim Napash wa Yawasap Haya Ba Matazarium Waya. Verse 6. Waya Mat Yawasap Wakal Ach Yawa Wakal Ha the Hadawar Ha Hawa'a. Verse 7. Wa Banya Yasharala Parya Waya Sharatazawa Waya Rabwa Waya I Tazamwa Ba Ma'ad Wa Mala Ha Rataza Atham. Verse 8. Waya Quam Malak Chadash Al Matazarium Ashar La'a Yadai Ath Yawsap. Verse 9. Waya Amor Al Amwa Hana I'm Banya Yasharala Rab Wa I Tazawum Ma Nawa. Verse 10. Haba Natha Kum Ma Salakia Lawa Pun Ya Yoruba Wahaya Kaya the Korana Mal Salaki Malakma Wa na Wasap Gum Hawa Al Shan Na'a Yanawa Wa na Lachum Ba Salaki Banwa Wa Ala Man Harataza. Verse 11. Wayashayamwa Al Yawa Sharia Masayum La Ma'ain I Nathalwa Basa Batham Waya Wayabun Wayabun Ayarya Select it Arya Masa Kanawath La Para Ath Pathum Wa'ath Ra'imasas. Verse 12. Waka Ashar Ya'ai Noah Athwa Khan Yaraba Wakan Ya Parataza Waya Kwatazawa Ma Bunya Yasharala. All right, Salaki, bear with me 1 second. It's book of Genesis, chapter. Salaki, let me go to it real quick. Chapter 50 and verse 14. And Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father after he has buried his father. 15. And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said, Joseph will peradventure hate us, and will certainly requite us all the evil which we did unto him. 16. And they sent a messenger unto Joseph, saying, Thy father did command before he died, saying, So shall ye say unto Joseph, Forgive, I pray thee now, the trespass of thy brethren and their sin, for they did unto thee evil, and now we pray thee, forgive the trespasses of the servants of God of thy father. And Joseph wept, and they spake unto him. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face, and they said, Behold, we be thy servants. And Joseph said unto them, Fear not, for I am in the place of God. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. Now therefore fear you not, I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spake kindly unto them. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt and his father's house, and Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation. The children also of Machir the son of Manasseh were brought up upon Joseph's knees. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land unto the land which he swore unto Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And Joseph took an oath of the children, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from hence. So Joseph died, being 110 years old. And they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. Book of Exodus, chapter 1, and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramesses. 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were they were grieved because of the children of Israel. All right, so what you seeing, right? So to recap, Joseph and his brothers, Jacob, passed, and then Joseph passed, and then all his brothers in that generation passed. But they were, they were fruitful and multiplied and had children, and they were great in the land. Now this goes back to and after, after all of that happened, when they started to grow, and their family started to grow, there arose a new Pharaoh that didn't know Joseph and the things that he had did things that they had did in Egypt. And this goes right back to you know what I mean, when Joseph had his whole family come through to Egypt, and they had a feast. They had sat down for a feast where they had separated, even though Jacob or Slack, even though Joseph was, you know what I mean, a mighty man in Egypt, and he was second he was second only to Pharaoh, you know what I mean, and he had did all the things that he had did in Pharaoh's house. You know what I mean? He had saved them from the famine and gave them the wisdom and the guidance to be able to survive the 7 years of famine. But even though he had did that and made them wealthy and rich, you know what I mean, and powerful in the nation, they still separated Joseph and his family from the Egyptians, because it's, and as it says in the scriptures, it is an abomination for Egyptians to sit with Israel. You know what I mean, that goes right back to this, because after, you know what I mean, even though Joseph has such a heavy reputation, and if it wasn't for Joseph, again, if it wasn't for Joseph, uh, if it wasn't for Joseph, um, Egypt wouldn't have survived the famine. So even though he had such a great reputation in Egypt, they still separated them. And even though he had that reputation, now that he passed and the Pharaoh passed, that legacy and that the mighty works that Joseph did in Egypt wasn't passed down. I mean, now think about it. You think about Egypt, and you think about how they you know what I mean, you know all the you know what I mean, the everybody know about Egypt now in 2025. Everybody know about Egypt and how they, you know what I mean, the kings and all of that. You know what I mean? The kings and the pharaohs that was in Egypt and how mighty Egypt was. So the fact that we know years, thousands of years from now or from then about the reputation of Egypt, but it was about a generation from Joseph. It was about a generation from Joseph, and the Egyptians quickly forgot how they had, or how he had kept them from dying in that famine. You know what I mean? But that just showed you that the Most High always intended for us to be separate from them, and your oppressor will never love you. They will always hate you, and we will always be separate. So all of that we shall overcome, and all that, you know what I mean, Martin Luther King garbage, and we shall, you know what I mean, I had a dream that one day we all will hold hands, and the integration and all of that garbage. That's how you know that that's some nonsense. You know what I mean? That's how you know that that's some nonsense. We, you know what I mean, again, Joseph, he kept Pharaoh, or he kept Egypt rather, from perishing in a famine. What do we do now? And they still hated Joseph. What do we do now? Well, we put on a dashiki. You know what I mean, we put on a dashiki, and we what do? We stand in the streets linked in arm, and get, you know what I mean, hit over the head with a billy club and do nonviolent protests. Not saying we should get violent, but you know what I mean, what we do, stand in the streets and beg to eat they dry, you know what I mean, they dry chicken and they unseasoned hamburger in their restaurants. You know what I mean? We beg to go to their schools. You know what I mean? If they forgot about what Joseph did in Egypt, they surely don't give a damn about, you know what I mean, you interracially marrying. They sure don't give a damn about you, you know what I mean, inviting them to the cookout or teaching them how to Dougie. You know what I mean? But this is just one of the many stories that's all throughout the Bible of how all these nations have always hated us. They have always hated us, and they always will. All right. So then you see later now they're like, okay, well, they're getting mighty in the nation of Egypt, or in the land of Egypt. We should deal with them and put them in captivity. That's what they're saying. They're saying we should deal wisely with them. We should deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And then what do they think was wise to deal with us? Verse 11, therefore they set over them taskmasters to afflict them. What's a taskmaster? A slave master. To afflict them with their burdens. You know what I mean? To put us in heavy bondage. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, like the cities, Pithom and Ramesses. So they put us in heavy bondage and afflicted us with our burdens. You know what I mean? Made sure our burdens was hard and difficult and rigorous, just like they did in the transatlantic slave trade, just like they did in American slavery. You know what I mean? In the Spanish Inquisition, it's like the Spanish Inquisition and the Trail of Tears, and all the things that you can look up in history. They did the exact same thing here. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. See, your oppressor hates you for absolutely no reason. They had no reason to do this to the children of Israel. It was just because we were great. You know what I mean? Even though in years past, in generations past, our greatness and the Most High, our greatness through the Most High, with the Most High being with us and giving us the wisdom, we made them great. But because of that, they didn't remember that. They didn't remember how the Israelites made Egypt great. You know what I mean? They wanted to destroy us and get us, put us in bondage. So integration is never going to work. Integration has never been the way, and that's why it continues to fail here in 2025. That's why you have an open racist and an open Nazi and an open felon and a open, sexual deviant in the White House right now, because we believe in foolish things like we can integrate with America and be equals to them. And because of that, we're blind to simple things. We're blind to what's obviously in our face. You know what I mean? But you got Martin Luther King to thank for that, as well as other false prophets, and as well as your Christian church. All right, so we're gonna go back to the Hebrew, the book of Genesis, so like the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 13 in the Hebrew. Waya Badwa, Matazarium, Ath, Banya, Yasharala, Ba Parak. 14. Waya Marawa, Ath, Chaya Yahum, Ba'ai Bada, Kwasha, Baha Bahamor, Wa Ba Labanyum, Wa Bakal, Ibada, Bashada, Athkal, Ibadthum, Ashar, Ibadwa, Bahum, Ba Parak, Waya Mar Malak Matazarium La Ma Yaladath Ha I Salakia Hai Bar Yath Ashar Shum Ha Hath Salaki Shapara Washum Ha Yath Pawa Salaki. Verse 16. Wayamar Ba Yalad Salaki. Ba Yaladakan Ath Ha I Bar Yawath Wa Ra'ai Yathan Al Ha Ba Salaki Ha Banyam Ban Hawa Wa Ha Mathan Wa Chaya like Wa Chayaha. Verse 17. Watha Wathayaran Ha Ma Yaladath Ath Ha Alahayim Wa La'a Aishawa Ka'ashar Debar Aliyah Hun Malak Matazarium Wa Chayayan Ath Hayaladyum. Verse 18. Verse 18. Waya Korah Malak Matazarium La Ma Yaladath Waya Amar La Hun Madwai Aisha Yathan Ha Debar Haza Wathan Wathachayayan Ath Hayaladium. Verse 19. Watha Marwa Ha Hama Yaladath Ath, it's like it all, Para, Kaya, La'a, Kanashyam, Kanashayam, Ha Matazar Yath, Ha I Bar Yath, Kaya, Chaya Wath, Hana, Ba Tarum, Thaba, Wa'a, Alahan, Hama Yaladath, Waya Wayaladwa, verse 20. Waya Yatab Alahayim, La Ma Yaladath, Waya Rab, Ha'im, Waya I Tazama, Wa, Ma'ad, 21. Waya Haya Kaya, Ya Ra'awa, Ha Ma Yaladath, Ath Alahayim, Halahayim, Waya Aisha, Lahum, Bathyam, verse 22. Waya Tazawa, Parai Lakal, I'm Wa, La Mar Kal, Ha Bun, Ha Ya Lawad, Ha Ya Mora, Thasha La Ya Kawa, Wakal, Ha Bath, Tha Ya 1. Book of Genesis chapter, or it's like a book of Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1. Wayalak Yash Bayath Lauya Waya Kwak Ath Bath Lauya. Verse 2. Wathahar Ha'asha Wathalad Bon Wathara'a Athwa Kaya Tawab Hawa'a Wathatazapanawa Shalasha Yara Salaki Yarakium. Verse 3. Wala'a Yakala Iwad Hataza Payanawa Watha Kwak Lawa the Bath Ga Salaki Gama'a Watha Hamora Ba Hamor Wabazapath Watha Shum Ba Ath Ha Yalad Watha Shum Ba Sawap Al Shapath Ha Ya'ar. Verse 4. Watha Tazab Achathwa Marachak La Da'i Ma I Slakia Ya Aisha Lawa. Verse 5. Watharad Bath Parai La Rahataza Al Hayar Wana I Rathaya Ha Lakath Al Yad Na Ya'ar Watha Ra'ath Ha Thaba Bathwak Ha Sawap Watha Shalach Ath Amatha Watha Kwacha. Verse 6. Watha Pathach Watha Pathach Watha Ra'awa Ath Ha Yalad Wa Ha Wahana Na'ar Baka Watha Hamal Ila Yawa Watha Amor Maya Ladia Ha I Barium Za. Verse 7. Watha Amor the Slakia Akathwa Al Bath Parai Ha Al Halak Wa Koraathia Laka Asha Maya Nakwath Man Ha I Bar Yath Wath Yanak Laka Ath Ha Yalad Salaki. Verse 8. Wath Amar La'a Bath Parai Lakaya Wath Laka Wathalak Ha'al Lama Watha Kora'ath Hayalad. Verse 9. Watha Mar La Bath Parai Hayalayakaya Ath Ha Salakia Hayalad Hazah Waha Wahayanakwa Wo Laya Wa Wanya Athun Ath Shakarka Wa the Kwak Ha Asha Ha Yalad Wa the Nayakwa Wo. Verse 10. Waya Gadol Hayalad Wa the Ba'a Wo. Salaki Labath Parai Waya Haya Laha Labun Wa Watha Korah Shamwa Masha Watha Amar Kaya Man Ha Mayam Masha Yathawa. Verse 11. Waya Haya Bayamyam Ha Hum Waya Gadal Masha Waya Taza'a Al Akyawa Waya Ra'a Basa Balthum Waya Ra'a Ayash Matazarya Maka Ayash Ibarya Makyawa. Verse 12. Waya Pun Ka Waka Waya Ra'a Kaya Ayan Ayash Wayak Ath Mat Hamatazarya Waya Tamanawa Ba Bachawal. 13. Waya Taza'a Bayawam Ha Shanya Wa Hana Shanya Anashyam Ibarium Natazium Waya Amar La Rashai Lama La Ka Raka. 14. Waya Amar Maya Ma Slakish Shamka La Ayash Shor Yashapat Al Yanawa Ha La Haragnaya Atha Amor Ka Ashor La Ragath Ath Ha Matazarya Waya Yara'a Masha Waya Amor Akan Na what Slaki now would die Ha Debor. All right. Is the book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 13 in the Hebrew or in the English. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and mortar and a brick and all manner of service in the field. All the service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. I mean, so this is exactly what we was talking about a second ago, where for just for the sake of us being there, you know what I mean, just because we was around, they was like, let's put them in slavery. That's exactly what the you know what I mean, Christopher Columbus did. That's in all the you know what I mean, the conquistadors and all the pillagers and the so-called settlers that came over after, where they just saw us and they was like, they're a peaceable people. They strong, they mighty, they are skilled. Let's make them slaves. That's exactly what the Egyptians did. You know what I mean? And once we can realize that your oppressor will never love you and they're gonna always deal with you in this way, you know what I mean? The more that's how we're gonna get free. You know what I mean? That because that's all we yearning for as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to get out of this bondage. But we're not gonna get out of this bondage by cleaving to our oppressor and joining and integrating with them and following their, you know what I mean, trying to get comfortable and complacent in their society. The only way for us to get free is for us to separate from them and realize that no matter how much we love them and grovel and bow down to them and serve their gods and marry their women and our sisters marry their men, they'll never love us and they'll never treat us like they treat one another. You know what I mean? But that's what you see in here, and that's what all these stories is about. I mean, the scriptures say the things written aforetime were written for our learning, so that through patience and comfort in the scriptures we might have hope. That's what these scriptures are for. And as you read the Bible, if your Christian church had only just read the Bible, they would know that integration was never the answer, because this is what happens when we integrate. This is what these other nations do to us. This is what these other nations, you know what I mean? This is how they treat us. And they've done this over and over all throughout the scriptures. So if we read these scriptures, we can see that and we can know that we should never love our enemy. So like it. Verse 15, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shipra and the name of the other Pua. 16. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew woman and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. See, this is reproductive, you know what I mean? What is the reproductive, so-called reproductive health care, you know what I mean? I.e. abortion. I mean, right here. And this is another tool that they use to target blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and destroy us further. You know what I mean? When they see us growing, because we just read a second ago, the more the more rigorous they made our bondage, the more we grew, the more we popular. And that's how we do. So they have to target us, and they have to target our women and convince them to get rid of their sons. I mean, that's what they have to do, and that's what you see right here. And that's the same tool that they use now when they talk about reproductive health care and all of that things, and encourage sisters to get rid of the child after they you know what I mean, after they get pregnant. This is the same tool that they used in Egypt. You know what I mean? Verse 17, but the midwives feared God, did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the man, children alive. And the fact that these midwives feared God and chose not to, you know what I mean, get rid of the babies, that's why we still, well, first of all, we still are a nation today. And we you know what I mean, that's why the story in Exodus, we're about to get into Moses. You know what I mean? That's why we was able to be, you know what I mean, guided out of the captivity of Egypt, because we went against what, you know what I mean, the evil decrees that your oppressor put in place. You know what I mean, back then. And if we can only do that now, we can, even though they got abortion clinics all throughout your neighborhoods, you know what I mean, you ain't got a grocery store in your neighborhood. You know what I mean, your neighborhood's a food desert, but they got an abortion clinic in your neighborhood. I mean, they got a liquor store and they got a Christian church all in your neighborhood. They got the what's it called, the dispensaries in your neighborhood, but they ain't got no grocery store. They ain't got no resources in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? But if we can, even though they got all these things to destroy ourselves in our neighborhoods, if we could just deny those things and fear the Lord enough to say, no, I'm not going to get rid of my child. No, I'm not going to vote. No, I'm not going to celebrate your Christmas. I'm not going to eat your pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Then that's how we're going to get out of this captivity. We're seeing it right here. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing? have saved the men children alive. 19. The midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, but they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come and unto them. So what we was doing, what our sisters was doing before the midwives could even come to them and even try to fulfill the order of the Pharaoh, they was having the babies. You know what I mean? Verse 20, therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mightily. And because these midwives said, I'm not going to do this thing, and because our sisters was like, I'm not going to get rid of our children, we grew and multiplied and waxed mighty. Verse 21, and it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. 22, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Book of Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what we done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark amongst the flag, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. 7. And said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew woman, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. 10. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and she became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, because I drew him out of the water. 11. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brother and looked on their burdens, and spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren. See, this is another thing too. See, Moses, even though he didn't grow up amongst the, you know what I mean, he grew up in Pharaoh's house. And Pharaoh's daughter raised raised Moses up as her own. But he didn't forget who he was. And that's what happens with a lot of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Well, we'll integrate into white society. We'll integrate in American society, or we might become athletes or entertainers, things like that. And what do? We forget who we are in the oppression. You take Serena Williams, for example, where her father, you know what I mean, taught her who her oppressor was, and he hated, you know what I mean, his oppressors so much so that he you know what I mean, he trained his daughters up, you know what I mean, in the way that he did, and instilled that understanding in them. And what does she do? She got famous, she got rich, and even though her father, you know what I mean, was a victim, one of many victims of oppression, and expressed his disdain for his oppressor, she still went and married herself an oppressor. I mean, when we get famous and we forget who we are, and we want to make marriages, you know what I mean, just like our brothers, you know what I mean, these athletes and these, you know what I mean, they get all rich and they grow up in the hood, and then they get rich and famous, and then what do? They get themselves a Kardashian, you know what I mean, where they want to marry, they want to get them a white woman. I mean, that's what we do. We grow up in the hood, and then we move out the hood, and we you know what I mean, we go get these accomplishments, we get degrees, and we get, you know what I mean, prestige and these jobs and all of that, and then what do? We go and find ourselves a white woman, or we want an Asian woman, we want something exotic. I mean, when we got 12 tribes to choose from. But Moses, he didn't forget who he was or where he came from, even though he grew up in Pharaoh's house. I mean, that's what we got to do as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Whether you grow up in the hood or whether you grow up in you know what I mean, in the rich and high society of America, should never forget who you are and what your people are going through. Even if you didn't grow up, you know what I mean, in poverty and things like that, You should look on the burdens of your brothers who are growing up in that situation and have compassion on them. And remember that those are your brothers. Salakia. When it came, Salakia. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. 13. And when he went out for a second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strode together. And he said unto him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? 14. And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. See, this is another thing that we do as well. When blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, especially, the priests in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, we go out there and teach our people who they are according to the Bible, and teach our people who our oppressor is, and expose them for the crimes that they commit against blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and make them apologize. Well, we don't make them, but they apologize for the crimes that they committed by kissing the boots of the slaves, the children of the slaves. It's our people that's trying to to defend our oppressor. See, our oppressor respects us for us, calling him out for his crimes. They respect, they don't respect the slave, but they will respect the enemy. And the Bible says never trust our enemy. So we don't trust our oppressor. We call him out for who he is. But it's always our people that tries to defend our oppressor and tries to exonerate them for their crimes when they haven't done anything to pay for their crimes, let alone to show any remorse for the crime they committed. Like they wash their hands of it, and in their mind, they don't have no hand in the oppression of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So they can't, to them, like they can't be held responsible at all. Yet we still want to, we got our brothers and sisters that want to exonerate them. That's exactly what you see in our communities. So we got to stop doing that, because that's what's keeping us. That's what's empowering your oppressor, and that's what's keeping us in this hell that we live in. But with that, we're gonna wrap it up right there. That was the last verse. We left off in Exodus chapter 2 and verse 14. So we're gonna pick up at the 15th verse, same book and chapter next week. Make sure you like and share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you we're about to end the stream, but once we end it, if you still got any questions or comments or whatever the case is, you can always hit that QR code, and it'll be brother in there morning, noon, and night to answer all your questions and solve all your problems. With that, I majim, which means to stand. Last Sharala. We're gonna salute the Torah real quick. How about Shimmy out Shabrakia? Sar Wapan Yahakodosh means turn and face the east. We're gonna do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abadao Shabbat Shemam Kodash Hayashim Ka Yahawu Malakukata Ba'ara Tazaka Hayai Shaba Ratazakawa Haya Bashaman Mathana Lakum Call your woman Wasalatna Kawatno Kasalakno Kawatina Wala Atabi Ana Banasaiwan Abal Habashana Mayan Raka Yelaka Hamalakwa Fahala Watapa Ratla Awulonium Amun. In English, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever, so be it. The prayer for the Hakak in the Hebrew. The power, the Hakak in the Hebrew. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Baba Kashah Latana Nawa Hakak Hakak La Rapaha Call my Kalawa Call my Dawa Hakak La Tahar Hamatazarium Hakak La Hakoyum Amatim Hakak Avakawa Tatuma Allah Lagar Shum Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah to Wadamun. In English, Yahweh, the name of Yahweh Shah, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shah, thank you, so be it. The prayer to bless selected to bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barak Lanawa Wa Yasharala Wahaba Yasafari Barak Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah to Wadamun. In English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, bless us in Israel in the school. In the name of Yahweh Shah, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'a Ayanya Ahaharya Ma'ayanya Ba'a Izarya Ma'ayim Yahweh Aisha Shemayim Wa Ratata Al Yadan Lamawat Regalka Al Yanawam Shamarka Hanala Al Yanawam Wala Ya Yashan Shalmar Yasha'ala Yahweh Shamarka Yahweh Tazalka Al Yadyam Yunka Yamam Hashamash Al Yakaka Wa Yarak Bala Yala Yahweh Yashamarka Makal Ra Yashamar Atmapashka Yahweh Yashamar Tazaka Wabu Aka Maitha Wide Awalam. In English, I will lift up mine eyes to the hills from whence cometh my help. My help comes from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh thy keeper, Yahweh thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. The Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim Adam Yelka Alta Karashwa Alta Shaqua Al Kayan Kana Al Yabika Yahami one Mashanayika Sha'ara Ra'ash Al Amika Yara Yamu Shawad Yata Yaita Alta Gabonika Marwa Lakawa Nakakidam Bagaya Wala Yazakar Sham Yasharala I watch Kaya no Aita Lab Yukadwa Al Yabariyat Yakaratwa Ahaya Adwan Wama Yashim Salaki Wa Yashamal Aliyah Mawa'abu Wahagarian, Gabal, Wa'amawan, Wa'amalat, Palashaf, Am Yashabia, Tazwar, Gamashwar, Nalawab, Imam, Hayawak, Jarawal, Labanyalawat, Nala, Aisha, Laham, Kamaji, Kasiyasara, Kayabwin, Kayabyan, Banakal, Koyashwan, Nashamadwa, Bayan Dara, Hayawat, Daman, Ladama, Shatomwa, Nadiyamwa, Kairab, Wakazaba, Wakazazamana, Kandashi, Kumbu, Bashar, Marwa, Na Yarasha. Lanawa, Nawa, Alahayim, Alahaya, Shayatamu, Kadagala, Kakwash, Lapanya, Rakaka, Ash, Tabaari, Aru, Kak, Waka, Laba, Alahat, Karyam, Khan, Tabadatma, Basa Arika, or Basawapaka, Tablahum, Malaa, Panyahum, Kalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashka, Wa Yabahawa, Id Wayakaparwa, Waya Abadwa. Wa Yadaiwa, Kaya, Tha, Shamka, Yahweh, Labata, Ayuwan, Alkaha, Rataza. In English, keep not thy silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head, and they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembered, for they have consulted together with 1%. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah, doing to them as unto the Midianites, as unto Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make the nobles like Oreb, and like Zeeb, yea, all their princes as Zabah, and as Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of the power and possession. Know my power, make them like the wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth the wood, and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire. So persecute them without tempest, make them afraid without storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Yahweh, let them be confounded in trouble forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the most high over all the earth. We're praying for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh, Wa Yahweh Shah, Wa Mayaka Allah, Wa Alahayim. Matazabya, Alawap Yahana, Halawapin, Hasarani, Hakwatazayanyim, Hakayayoyim, Wahakwapin, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh. In English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, Commander General Yahana, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Or sorry. Give a courtesy salute to the brothers. The individual reminder Shabbat. Majim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Brakathum, Yajimatah, Sar, no turn face sister. Give a courtesy salute to the sisters. The individual reminder Shabbat. Majim, Barak, Yahweh Shemal Latham Shem Yahshua, Yajimatah, class dismissed.